Humano so near lawyer, a constitutional lawyer, law lecturer at the CAF University, lawyer Raymond Bidema. Yanana Chichen Komo na Yanshe. Lawyer, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ziga. How are you?
Please, I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking. Now, Ghana Bar Association has issued a statement urging all parties involved in the ongoing process now. The removal of the Chief Justice. No, they are calling for the reversal of the removal of the Chief Justice. Do they have the locus, or this is an advice? Can we consider this one as an advice to the president?
Which group issued a statement?
The Ghana Bar Association.
Oh, good. And let me take the opportunity to say a very good morning to your cherished listeners. I think this is out of proportion. And I don't know on which law they anchor their resolution. With greatest respect to Ghana Bar Association. I repeat myself, with greatest respect to Ghana Bar Association. The country is not a company where you can resolve by passing out a resolution to do a thing. I don't think that whatever resolution that the Ghana Bar Association has passed will be binding on anybody, because that is not anchored on any law. We are guided by rule of law, and as a country we are also guided by a constitution, and a written constitution for that matter. And we practice also supremacy of the constitution. Anything done that is not anchored on the constitution is not having any binding effect. So with greatest of respect, I don't know on which law they are anchored. Is it an advice? If an advice, fine. Anyone can advise. But I don't think what they have done is having any binding effect on the president, because it is not anchored on any law. It's not anchored on any law.
If you read their statement carefully, they are urging all parties involved in the ongoing process for the removal of the Chief Justice. Now tell us, Ghana Bar Association are related to law, and they know the law. I hope that I'm talking about the people, the leadership of the Ghana Bar Association. They are all lawyers. So can we say that, are they saying that what is going on, the parties involved are not going through the legal procedure as to how it ought to be?
Ghana Bar Association is made up of lawyers. You cannot be in the association without being a lawyer. So from that angle, it means that they understood the dictate of the procedure that the president is going through, and they also know the respective rights and the obligations of the parties involved. Now, having said this, I don't know why they should pass that resolution, but if it is for the purposes of maybe advising, because they are calling and they find that, okay, as lawyers, they have to also put their voice into it, then that is okay. But again, as lawyers, with greatest of respect to the leadership, I believe that whatever we as lawyers we will do, it must be anchored on law. It must have a root. It must have some foundation on the law. And so doing a thing which has no foundation in law is, as a lawyer, I don't know why we've done that anyway. It is just so, I don't know. Because I don't also think that at this stage, I think that again will also be prejudicial, because they should allow the procedure to take its own due course. I know parties are also involved, and if they also feel that maybe something is done which is not, or which is unconstitutional, they can also, as an association, they can also go to court to seek clarification on things, and not to go and bite, like, excuse me to say, like a toothless dog.
Now that they have passed the resolution and calling the president to, reverse the suspension of the Chief Justice. And if that one holds, can we get a justice? Can we get justice? Because people think that if the Chief Justice sits in the office, he can influence the process.
Justice in this country is done by the court. It is that when parties are having disputes, when parties are fighting over something, it is the court that has the power to do justice. It is the court, and in this matter, it is about the Constitution of Ghana. No authority or nobody, no civil society group has the power under this circumstance to do any justice except to go to court under Article 2.1 and Article 130 of the 1992 Constitution to seek to do justice. That is the laid-down procedure. At this point in time, that is the only procedure that is available to any group, and for that matter, Ghana Bar Association. I don't know. It is of no consequential effect whatsoever to pass a resolution.
I see. So now can we say that the Ghana Bar Association should have, as a lawyers, they should have gone there at all?
Where I am sitting, I don't think that there was any need for it, because what you would do that has no effect, binding effect for that matter, you do offend. So in the eyes of every Ghanaian, Ghana Bar Association has spoken. But as to whether whatever they have spoken has any effect, it's material, because what it is, they are the lawyers, and we are supposed to be doing justice. We are supposed to be seeing to it that justice is being done. So whatever we are doing must also be anchored on the law. So as we are going out there, we must say that we have the authority of the law, that at this point in time we can do this, and so we are doing that and compelling the president to do one thing or the other. But now we are now advised, so we are advising the president. And what is the effect of it if the president does not take our advice?
Talking about the suspension, when you read Article 146, the provision that removes the Chief Justice, I think that the other time we read it from somewhere that the president can suspend the Chief Justice as the investigation are going into the removal, the process, right?
Yes. If you look at clause 10 of Article 146, so the president may suspend the Chief Justice. Yes. Where there is prima facie case made against her. So once the Constitution provides for it, if President does it, is he wrong? So you may do it. So he has also done it.
Okay.
What is wrong about that? And we need to put this in the right perspective. The suspension does not seek to say that the president is declaring the CJ guilty. It is not in any way declaring the CJ guilty of the offense charged. Right? It is only that, or it is fair to say that, okay, if you are the one we are investigating, then sit aside, let us do the investigation so that there is nothing, or nobody will seek to say that maybe you are interfering with the due process of the investigation. So sit back, let us hear, and at the end of the day, and I don't know, it's like some people are thinking that once there is a petition against one party, then that party is declared guilty. At this point, the CJ is not guilty. At this point, the CJ is just being an accused, or they are only accusing her of certain misconduct. And so it is only fair that they will also hear her side of the story, and then they will make a determination. And the determination here could either mean that the CJ is guilty or the CJ is not guilty. Why don't we allow the due process of law to take its own course? Again, there is also an avenue available to a party who is against at the end of the day. If you think the due processes have not passed, you can still go to court. So why don't we exercise restraint patience, and at the end of the day, we make sure that the laws of the land take their course.
the idea behind the 14610 is that they don't want the person in questions to influence the process, the investigation. That is why the 10 is there, so that the investigation can flow. You can get the fluidity in the investigation, right?
Mr. Zia,
they're stepping aside.
Mr. Zia, even in our offices, if a party is alleged to have misconducted himself or he involved himself in certain malfeasance, and a committee is set up to investigate that party, we all the time, that person is actually asked to sit aside. And the rationale of this is very clear, so that there wouldn't be any interference in the process. And I think again that in the case of the CJ, it will be in the interest of the CJ herself to even sit aside. Where I am coming from, I feel so, because as the CJ, you are the head of the judiciary. And so people will think that if she is still in the realms of affairs during this investigation, there could be, please, I choose my words advisedly, there could be, or there may be interference. And, you know, the public opinion sometimes carries a lot of weight. What people feel, what people think that it is being done. So in that regard, it could be asked to. And again, being asked to sit aside is not to say that she is guilty. Sit aside, let the due process go on. When at the end of the day you are not guilty, you come and continue. And at this stage, I think all remuneration benefits are still going to her.
So, have you read some of the charges against the Chief Justice? Have you read it, the petition?
I did, but you know, the Constitution also provides that everything from clinking to crime with regards to the removal of Chief Justice should be in camera.
Okay, so no, I'm just asking you that. Have you read the petition, the charges against the Chief Justice? Have you read some of the charges?
There was some petition flying in the media space, and I had the benefit of reading. But as to whether that is what they are using, I cannot tell, because I've not heard it from any authentic source. It is only in the media space. Anybody at this stage or in this
can concoct anybody anything and throw
something and put it on the media space. Yeah. So I cannot come here and then look at your viewers and your cherished listeners and say that I had the benefit of reading. That is, I cannot say so.
Okay, so when you read some of the charges, people are saying that it calls for the removal of the Chief Justice, and some saying that it's frivolous, and people are also saying that it's too political, because President Mahama thinks that NDC have won the executive and the legislature, and they want the judiciary so that they will be all run for them to operate efficiently. Do you agree with them?
I don't share this. Is it President Mahama that presented the petition to himself?
So as for that one, we can contrast some papers to do it. We are in this country, we read politics. We know politics, what our politics is all about.
Mr. Ziga, you may be speculating. Because it may, I am not overriding the possibility of parties doing things, but as it stands now, we cannot say that is what has happened. And mind you, it is not just one petition, about 3 of them, right? Yeah. And I could recall, if my memory serves me right, I think even when the former president was there also, there was one also petition against the Chief Justice. But that one, there was a determination of no prima facie case made against the Chief Justice. You could recall.
Maybe the president thought that he was finding a way to remove the Chief Justice. That's why they started from the previous administration, so that people will understand him, so that people will buy his idea. It could be somewhere.
How would the president have known that he will win? And for that matter, he will start a thing so that when he comes to power, he will come and continue that thing. Wow, how on earth? I don't think that we should be speculating. And you could recall that at the time when the petition was sent to the former president also, people also say that the then president was also shielding the Chief Justice when he declared that there was no prima facie case made against her. Is it good for us to conclude that way? But by then, because that was MPP government, and it was the MPP government that appointed the Chief Justice, so the president at the time was shielding. Because the president at the time also did consultation with Council of State, and they came out to say that there was no prima facie case made against the Chief Justice. At that time, should we also say that all the Council of State, the president, they were only doing politics? Is it fair to say so? No, we cannot continue to politicize everything. This is a procedure that is laid down by the Constitution. Can we be picking and choosing out things out of the Constitution? One thing, there is a thorough call for the review of certain provisions of the Constitution. That is legitimate cause.
So when you read the Shining Star, the charges of the Shining Star, it's the same petition and the charges that they sent to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo for the previous administration, and the Council of State then took a decision on it to exonerate the Chief Justice. So how come I'm coming, sir. So how come that we bring the same charges against the Chief Justice? Are we not disrespecting the previous Council of State?
Mr. Zia, in the first place, the fact that the determination of prima facie case against Chief Justice is not a judicial process. It is not a judicial process where if it has been determined by one regime to serve as a bar against the determination of state against another regime. We call something res judicata. And res judicata is actually a legal term. That is to say that if a matter has been adjudicated upon by a court of competent jurisdiction between the same party and with the same subject matter, that matter cannot be adjudicated upon by another court.
Oh, I see.
Or the same court subsequently. Right?
Yeah.
It is a bar. So if myself and you, we are fighting over a portion of land and we go to court, and after litigation, I win you, I can only go for appeal against that decision. But I cannot seek to go to another court to say that this court didn't do justice. I will go to another concurrent, maybe court of concurrent jurisdiction, another high court in Tema, because we litigated it in Accra. I'll go to Tema and start new or fresh field. That one the law prevents. But for the determination of a prima facie case is not a bar to prevent a subsequent administration from determining a prima facie case against that matter, right? And again, that is one leg. But the second leg of it, Mr. Ziga, is, as we are speaking, can you authoritatively tell me that you have the benefit of reading the petition for which the Council of State with the President with the consultation with Council of State are saying that there is prima facie case made against the Chief Justice? As we are standing, can one tell? You cannot. So then, why do we think that it is the same fact? It is the same allegation.
So
even if it will be a bar against the second time determination, how do you know it is the same fact? We can. So we made this speculation, and that is not fair to both the parties and then the courts. And mind you, what we are saying there is someone also in Supreme Court seeking interpretation and annulment of the whole process. Right? Why don't we also wait for?
I agree with you. Now, quickly, let's stay in the Ghana Bar Association, the resolution. You see, passing the resolution to call on the president to revoke the suspension of the Chief Justice, is it not, interference? Because per what we said the other time and today, that Article 146 Clause 10 gives the president, the power to suspend or ask the Chief Justice to step aside when the investigation going into the process of removal. What the Ghana Bar Association have done, are they not interfering the whole process? And they should, can't I say that they should have known better as a legalist?
That is what I was saying, that yes, I think with greatest of respect to them, I don't know what informed the decision to pass that resolution. And I was very mindful to state that maybe they think that they needed also to add their voice. And, the first statement that was made by Ghana Bar Association, for me, if you ask me, that was a very legitimate one. And they said that all the parties must make sure that this rule of law, because the tenets of rule of law must be followed at all times. And so if the Bar Association is calling for the tenet of rule of law to be manifested in the whole procedure, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. Because as lawyers, we are defenders of the rights of the marginalized in the society, the less privileged, and making sure that everybody has justice without fear of favor, right? So if that is the call, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And I think that on another thing apart from, I said it, that was in the right way for my other association to do. But as to whether or not the resolution that has been passed will seek to interfere in what? What is the relevance of that resolution? A resolution that is not anchored, that is not having any firm standing in any law, is of no consequential effect, like I said earlier. And so for me, that's the resolution that has been passed. It may only be advisory, but if that it is an advice and the president does not take it, has nothing to have, no effect actually, no binding effect. And nobody can quote it even in a court of law to say that this party has even advised you and you did not take it.
So there
are authorities to the effect that even the Council of State, their advice to the president still is just an advice, and it is subject to refusal.
Yeah. So we can say that what happened? Yeah, they are just throwing their support behind the Chief Justice. That's all, right? They have to say something. That's what you can consider it.
I don't see the rationale behind throwing support behind the Chief Justice. As lawyers, we should be throwing support behind the rule of law.
The rule of law, yeah.
As lawyers, we should be throwing our support behind rule of law and not any particular person. Because our duty, our core mandate is to see to it that there is a robust system where there is reflection of the tenet of rule of law. So we fight for the right of both the marginalized and the privileged and the privileged people in the society. So at any point in time, our call should be that in any procedure, in any circumstances, there should be that reflection of the rule of law. And that's why I was saying that the first communique by Ghana Bar Association is top-notch.
Okay.
It reflects our core mandate. But the resolution for me is neither in here nor there.
All right. So thank you very much, lawyer Raymond Bidema.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. Lawyer Raymond Bidema, a law lecturer at CAF University, and I'm